Well met. Today's philosophical consideration is the fact that everywhere I've been, and I've been traveling, I think I first went on a plane at 2 months old. My parents traveled extensively throughout my childhood, taking me with them. As an adult, I haven't traveled as much as I wanted, probably because I traveled a lot as a child. And the world has changed, but I still love traveling. But what I've noticed, as I've always been a very keen observer of faces and people, is that people's energy, people's faces are repeated in different countries. So I'll recognize a version of the same person in a country I visit, or indeed a city. It can be that kind of micro. And then I was thinking, because I ruminate on clients I'm working on. I was thinking about a particular person and how they really remind me, and this happens a lot, of somebody else. And often I'll get the names mixed up, as my clients can attest to being called the wrong name. And it's because they remind me so keenly of this other energy, this other person that looks like them. And then I started thinking, okay, so people looking like each other, like there's only so many different variations of features, perhaps that's it. But then perhaps, no, perhaps they're soul family. And so they have that commonality, and I'm reading that energy as a familiar blueprint. And then I started thinking, well, does that mean that that soul, if it's fragmented into these different kind of people in different countries, different cities, having their life stories, whether they're having similar experiences and it takes just one of the versions of that soul to learn the lesson, for that to be cleared for all of the souls? Or is it different versions of the same person going through the same experiences to see how the soul reacts differently and what it learns in different situations? So think on that. I find it fascinating, and it will carry on as things do in my head, carry on until it kind of goes and the piece of the jigsaw all comes together. So I'll let you know when and if that happens and what I think. But I'm going to carry on thinking about it. The other thing was I was thinking about actors and what happens to them, because in Hollywood we watch these films of people that people make about these amazing lives that they have, especially soaps and series where people are playing these characters. And yet, when we read the media stories about these people, often when they've reached a low point in their lives, because we love something awful to happen to somebody else, that's the Schadenfreude personality kind of thing of humanity. You find out that these people, while they were making these things, were high on drugs or, going through lots of challenges. And then I wonder, when I think about acting, whether because they are doing without a break, they're doing these series, they're playing these different people that somebody else has written for them to play, that they've become. How do you not become like the character you're constantly playing? Where does the line get drawn? And then if you're playing this character that is really happy, has all these wonderful things going for it, or, has all these tragedies going for it, what happens to you when you drop the mask and you go home and your life looks nothing like the happy bits, or nothing like the difficult bits, and then this kind of juxtaposition that the energy, because as I'm thinking as a hypnotherapist, the subconscious mind can't work out what is true, what is real and what isn't. It just perceives. It's very black and white. And that's why there's a lot of work done with hypnotherapy around changing people's mindsets, but also in sports, getting people to run races and win them before they actually run them. So they run them in their mind, and then they're more likely to win them in reality because they've gone through it already. So what happens to those actors? And because of our society being this 24/7 like need for information and entertainment, is that why these people burn out? Is that what happens? Because they just get lost. And I remember I was very good at acting, and I just have a natural ability to recall information and to read things and learn scripts. And I went to a theatre-based college, although I didn't do theatre, much to the chagrin of the theatre guy. And my mum said to me, "I'm so glad that you never did this." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because you just lose yourself, Claire." And I was like, but that's what it takes to be a good actress. But she was like, no, you'll lose yourself and you won't get yourself back. And now I really kind of understand that a little bit. It's like, whose life are you leading? And something else came in there as well about, because I'm particularly interested in masks at the moment, because I went to boarding school and we learn this ability. You have to learn this ability to put on a mask at a very young age. I was 8, because you need to survive. So it's called a survival personality specialist. So it's like the SA for personalities, where you have to, SAS even, I think I mean that right, not the German one. To survive, you have to bury parts of yourself and become very good at kind of working around. So you stop putting masks on and acting as masks. Anyway, big things to think about. And I will talk about that in more detail. I've just got another weekend to get through of that in November, and then I can talk about it because it's quite raw. But anyway, things to ponder today as we're kind of, moving more into the shadow world. And I've just had that recent thing with the vicar and the judgment, and the fact that I met the vicar when I first moved to the area and introduced myself. And, we had a lovely conversation, and I was like, we're on the same team. We both want people to be in touch with their spirituality. And so this disappointment of just not being understood and judged, and then realizing that actually I have to keep talking like this because I'm going to magnetize the people that feel like I do, my team, my crowd, my people. Anyway, blessed be.